Hello and welcome. My name is Doug Schouten here with Roland Pro AV division, and today we're going over the VR-50HD. I'd like to welcome you all to the webinar. Basic idea of the VR-50 is it's an all-in-one audio and video mixer with a USB output so you can easily stream. There's two main reasons why this product has been so successful. First, ease of use. As you see on the surface here, I have a nice little audio and video section, as well as a touchscreen. So it's very simple to use this product. The other thing is that it delivers a very professional type output. So very high resolution output to SDI, HDMI, as well as high definition throughout my USB as well. So first let me describe kind of my setup that I have going on here. Notice my output here is just kind of my program out from the VR-50HD. For sources today, I have a couple camera types. So for instance, this is coming in via HDMI. I also have a second input coming in via HDMI, so it's just as if I plugged in an HDMI camera. And then my third input is actually my Mac computer here, coming in HDMI as well. And then my fourth input, I'm actually coming in another presentation software through a PC over on the other side, which is a good example because this is kind of what you might see in a corporate type AV environment. You're never quite sure what type of inputs, input sources, if you will, you'll find. So with that as a bridge, let's actually check out the back of the VR-50HD. Notice a wide variety of different video input types. So everything from HDMI, which we're all very accustomed to now, SDI, which is a high definition composite input, and then RGB component input. So a wide variety. So for a typical corporate environment, you might come up, maybe somebody has their presentation on an iPad. Well, I could come into maybe the RGB component for that. Maybe somebody has a presentation on a PC, an older PC. You could go in via the VGA, the RGB component type. And then maybe we have some higher definition cameras. We've invested some money. We could come in to take a camera into SDI, even at high definition, or 3G SDI. But then maybe we have your standard computer, similar to modern computer, which you have an HDMI out. We can easily go into HDMI as well. So there you can see the variety of input types, similar the different output types, SDI, HDMI, as well as USB 3 is where I'll be able to connect to my computer and stream. So that's kind of the tour of the back of the console. Also, just picture XLR as well as RCA and TRS for audio. The unit can also pick off audio that might be associated with your SDI or HDMI. So I can mix that audio in if I had a Blu-ray player or something like that, for instance. So I've shown you my setup here, very typical for corporate environment. Now let's do video. So let's set up mixed video. How do I mix between? So if we take a shot over the top of the VR-50, I can use these buttons down below, video input select, and simply touch a source. And then notice my output. This is my program output, so this is what I'm sending out. So my preview, my three input sources. And excuse me, but the video will loop around, so you'll see that every once in a while. I also have a still store, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But now I can see my two video, so camera inputs, as well as my two computer type inputs. And I can switch between those just by touching down below. Notice right now I'm on a mix. And I can time out the mix, so if I wanted to do a longer one, I can adjust that using the timing knob. I can set it back to something more appropriate. If I hit cut, I can also just cut between the sources very quickly. So if I wanted to assign these, so I showed you all the different types. We have all different, what we call multi-format, so HDMI, SDI. How do I assign which one goes where? Well, we make it really easy on you. If I hit the input assign screen, I'll actually see a quad view of my sources. And notice I'll have on my touch screen options. So basically all I have to do is tell the VR-50 what physical connector I'm connected to. So for instance, SDI, HDMI, composite, RGB component, and it'll actually auto-sense the resolution of that format. So as you can see, as soon as I hit that HDMI, boom, my HDMI source comes right up. So right now we're working with all HDMI sources, but it's just that simple. You just tell it what connector, again, what connector. Doesn't matter if you have different resolutions per channel. You basically will tell what resolution you want for your output of the VR50, and then it will make all the conversions for you. So there you go. Very simple to set up. So I showed you how to cut between, I showed you how to mix between. But let's say, for instance, as you can see, my output here, so I have a presenter. Maybe the presenter has some PowerPoint slides. So for my computer, I do have these PowerPoint slides. Maybe he's talking about these generic, very generic PowerPoint slides. But it'd be nice to be able to see my presenter as well as have the PowerPoints up. So what I can do with the VR50 is create a picture-in-picture. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I can do that by touching the composition setup button. If I hit that, then I have a full screen of my composition. So first thing I want to do is turn on my preview for picture-in-picture. So I'll touch right here. Notice a picture-in-picture shows up. Now I haven't assigned anything to be that source. So what I'll do, come all the way down, I'll hit source, and now I can choose which source I want to be that picture-in-picture. So I'm going to choose HDMI 3. So there you go. I can exit back out of there, and notice now my PowerPoint is available as a picture-in-picture. So what I can do with that, I can size that, I can move it wherever I want, simply by touching the touch screen. Maybe I want to put it on the other side of his shoulder, and I can adjust the sizing of it using the value knob here. No problem. Now we have a picture-in-picture showing the graphs that he's talking about. So if we back up out of the composition layer, notice when I'm in this menu, now I only have that live, or in my preview. I haven't sent that live to my program section. So how do I send that? So first of all, it's a really nice feature that I have that in the preview. So I can adjust that sizing kind of in the background before I take it live, so I can make those adjustments on the fly. But now I want to take it live, so all I have to do is simply hit the picture-in-picture button here on my bus, and notice that comes out live. It's also live here behind me. So easy to set that up. Let's also give our audience the name of the fellow that's talking here. I can do that via my composition setup. And I'm going to use my second composition layer as a key. So I'll hit to preview key so I can see it. Then I'll choose to edit the picture-in-picture key. And then I'll come into source, and I'm going to use my HDMI 4 as the source for that guy. That's just a keynote or a PowerPoint slide, and what I've done to it is laid it over a black background. And if I come into detail of this key, notice I've turned off picture-in-picture because that's also an option for this channel. But I have key on here, and I've turned it to Lumi Black. So what it's basically doing is taking all the black out of that slide and overlaying what's left onto my image. So what I'm left with is, if we back out of the composition setup, this lower third here. So as easy as it is to create a PowerPoint or Keynote slide, I can also just create something that would lay over any of my active video channels. So there you go. I have a lower third. And then if we go back to our output here, notice I'm up on the screen. I can again use my composition button for picture-in-picture / key, hit that, and now it'll go live to my program output. No problem. Another thing that we're all very accustomed to seeing, especially when we're watching TV, is that each of the whatever channel you're watching has their own little bug, if you will, in the screen, maybe a watermark, if you want to call it that as well. So how nice would that be to have our company logo as that little bug type idea? So we can do that as well. We'll use our still key down below. I've already jumped into the composition setup screen. So now I'm going to choose to see my preview, my still key, and then I can go into my still key, and I'll just show you, but we've already assigned it to still key 1. I could assign it to a different still if I had a different one in there. And then if I exit back, Now we'll go into detail, and here's where I choose the type of key. Now I've created a still of my company logo with a black background. So I've assigned it to say Lumi Black. So I'm keying out all of the black and overlaying that logo there. So a real life situation, let's back out of here, kind of go to our normal view here. And if you have me back on my monitor here, so Mr. Mark Patrick here, he's telling us all about his graph here. But let's say we changed our presenter. So in essence, what we'll want to do, well, first of all, let's add our still key. We like to keep that key logo up all the time. Let's take out his presentation, take out his name. We already know who he is. Now maybe we'll change presenter. So if we have a second guy present, we can switch over to him. Now he's going to talk. And as simple as going to my computer that's showing my PowerPoint and changing to the next slide. Maybe I have a different name for him. So if you see my overview here, I'm going to call this gentleman Frank Matthews, just as an example. So now we have him up here. We still have our company logo, but we want to introduce him. So now we can overlay our Frank Matthews. And now we can see it's just that easy. Toggling between different slides on a Keynote or PowerPoint presentation will allow you to do that. It's also nice to be able to do things on the fly. So it's as simple as taking this out, take this out. Now I can come into my computer, change. Maybe there's a presenter that was added to the program that we didn't know. Now I can change and adapt, put somebody else's name into that. When I'm done with that, now I can send his name back out to my program out. So very easy to do keying on the fly with the VR-50 HD. So those are my different layers. Let's talk about audio while we got you. There's 4 channels here of audio, and I'll just switch to the back of my VR-50 again. 4 channels are my XLR inputs. So those are always directly tied to my 4 black faders here. And then for the 4 white faders, these are stereo faders, and those are either assigned to your line level, which are TRS or RCA type, or if I wanted to, I can say, well, pick off the audio that's on that HDMI input. So how I would do that is hit the setup button, and I could toggle either between line being the RCA or TRS, or video being SDI or HDMI, whichever one I have active. So I can easily pick off the audio, mix that into my overall mix, and then on my output, I'll actually re-embed my audio. So if it's an SDI output or an HDMI output, my program audio will be mixed back into those outputs. So a really nice finished product will be available. So I showed you that. The other part we'll want to show you, just to kind of finish up the audio, if I went to a setup button of, say, one of my microphone inputs, notice I have a good amount of processing here on my touchscreen. I have a 3-band EQ, a gate, a compressor. Gate would be nice to keep out noise in between people using a microphone, a compressor to bring up the level, to normalize the audio, if you will. As well as gain adjustments up top as well as on the touchscreen. And any of these parameters I want to adjust, maybe it's a reverb send, I can just tap the parameter and use the value knob here, and those will correspond. So a lot of audio functionality. Up top I have my overall reverb volume. So if I did have a singer of some sort, I could actually access the reverb. I could put a little reverb on it. Nice to be able to do that. And then a USB audio level. So I have a separate audio level going to my USB, separate from my XLR outputs as well. Then I have my headphone encoder, which is down below, or knob I should say. I have TRS, either 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch, so I can plug in whatever I have for monitoring headphones right into the unit here, and I can hear exactly what I'll be sending out to my mix. So if we also jump in, of course, we're all here talking about streaming as well. So how do I do that? Well, the USB on the VR-50 is a great tool, and it's very easily explained by saying basically any input source or any software, I should say, any software that can see a web camera can see the output from the VR50 via USB 3. Same idea, it's in the same format as a webcam would be. So if I plug in USB 3 from my VR50 into my computer, now I have audio and video right into my computer. So what type? And by the way, also PC or Mac for your computer, no driver needed, it's just like a webcam, just kind of shows up, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by just kind of shows up. Here's just a few examples of software that I could use to either stream or just simply capture if I just wanted to record. Let's just take QuickTime for an example. If I open that, come over to this section, I want to hit New Movie Recording. And notice right away, it sees my VR50. That's my output there. If I wanted to add my different pieces, I could do that. I could have my lower third, and then of course my logo. And I have access to that, so it just follows and I can record straight to there. Just to show you exactly where it is if it doesn't show up automatically. There's a little arrow here with a drop down. And then notice my VR50 just shows up as a camera source and as a microphone source. So I just hit checkbox on both of those, and now I have audio and video directly into my QuickTime to record. Another example is Flash Media Live Encoder. So if I open that up, this can also just grab my output. So there you go. It immediately sees it. If it doesn't grab onto it right away, this section down here, the video section, if I hit my down arrow here, it'll show me my different options for input there. And of course, it latched right onto the VR50, but my built-in camera, my FaceTime built-in, is also accessible. But of course, the VR50 comes up right away. So I could start encoding to the Flash Media Live Encoder. Similar setup for any software that you can stream with or record. Basically, you just choose the VR50 as a source. It just shows right up. That's kind of the overview. That's the kind of the nuts and bolts of the VR50. If you'd like, you can absolutely contact me, Doug Schouten. I believe we can throw up my contact information if you got it. And then contact me, feel free if you have any further questions about how to use the VR50, or if you'd like to do or have a demo in your own setup, we can arrange for that. So please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for watching today, and we'll talk to you next time.